Today's episode of Midnight at LAMFAMs is in support of the Malala Fund, a nonprofit that advocates for girls' education. This episode may be about toxic academic culture, but promoting education is still a net benefit. We hope you take some time out of your day to look them up.
And that made it feel like okay to do it. Otherwise, like, what are you doing with your life?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of our new podcast, Midnight at LAMFAMs. Spiritually, it's midnight. Physically, it's 2 p.m. Today's episode is called Toxic Academic Culture and Where to Find It. So as I'm sure you can guess, we'll be talking about toxicity associated with academic culture at our school and in our community. Just a reminder to my fellow LAMFAM members to please avoid naming names. So we can start by introducing ourselves and who we are. We're all grade 12s at a high school in Ontario. My name is Joyce, and I'm hosting today. I guess my defining extracurricular would be debate, which means I talk competitively. As you listen, you will come to realize why that is.
I'm Christina.
Hello, I am Kevin.
I'm Mufal.
I'm Emily.
Hi, I'm Jasheen.
And I'm Sahad.
Yay!
Apparently doesn't record him.
All right, now that the most difficult part of today's episode is done, let's get started with the actual content. I'm thinking we get started by talking about like the humble brag culture at our school. Does everyone know what I mean when I say that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Mufang, would you like to start?
Oh my god, why are you like this? Okay, we're just like going back to defining, and we're just going back to defining humble brag, which I think by the name most people know what it is that you want to brag, but you don't want to openly just say how great you are, so you just add like a little criticism at the end. Can we all give some examples, please? Humble brags, let's go.
Oh, easy,
Yeah.
easy. Okay, after you get your physics test back,
Oh god.
you're like, guys, I did so badly, and then someone asks you, right? Because you pretend to be sad, and then you're like, yeah, I got a 95.
Or some specific people in English gets a 99. Man, this mark sucks.
Wait,
I
I thought
missed
we were...
1%,
Wait, why are we
guys.
calling each other out? What is this happening?
I
And
was
Oh my
we're
God, okay.
calling each other out like normally too. It's
No
not
names.
anything. We don't like actually hate each other.
No
so
names.
No
you
names,
can
no
call
names.
each
My
other out.
favorite example is when people like to ask for pity for their marks. So they try to downplay it so that they'll feel better about themselves when people are like, "Oh my god, wait, that's such a good mark," or like, "Oh no, I got a mark lower than that. You should be happy." Like the self-pitying or whatever, or like asking for pity.
I don't know. I feel like the way it is you don't want to just come out and say, I'm so happy, I got a 95. So you try to downplay it, but it just makes other people feel even worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or it just makes people want to kill you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Great, thank you for that. Okay, so I wrote the next point, and my next point was, okay, so you know how like when you get a test mark, but it's like it could be like a super good mark, like you could be like 1% off of 100, or like 1% off of getting a really good mark, or you get like a really bad mark, and then there's always people who like blame teachers for it, but like where do we draw the line between like blaming yourself or blaming your teachers for marks? Because like bias is really hard to measure, especially in like schools and stuff.
But I don't know, sometimes you get everyone gets a bad mark on a test, right? Because teachers make really, really hard
Yeah.
tests and no one can do well on them. So then
Or like
do you blame the teacher, or is it
Or
is it my fault?
do you blame how unprepared you were?
You blame how the teacher prepared you.
I studied so well. We study very hard in this group.
Yeah, sure.
No, I think that happens more with like English marks and history marks. People are like, oh, they only got that mark because like the teacher likes them, that kind of thing.
hmm
Or like I really pissed that teacher off, so I'm never gonna get a good mark in their class again.
Oh, it's definitely
'cause
the
it's more
more
subjective.
subjective courses. Yeah.
Whereas something more like math or physics, it's like it's what you like. You get the right answer, you get the wrong answer, right? But the preparedness part, you could probably bring into these subjects.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I mean, people fight with math and physics teachers and chem teachers about their marks anyway on tests.
Yeah, because it's like the most important marks, right? So everyone is like super, super like sensitive to what their mark is because they're basically like scared for their future.
I think maybe that's part of why people are so obsessed with it because of the culture around like, oh, your marks are your everything. And so
Yeah.
if you have bad marks, it's a reflection on like who you are as a human being. And
True.
like it means you're never going to have a good future, which is I don't think that's true. I hope that's not true.
No, I was just jumping off of like what people said about like the humble brag culture and then how prepared people are. I feel like I see a lot of people saying that like they didn't study a lot when in reality, you know, they did. I think that's another like aspect of like humble bragging culture where like they just downplay how much effort they actually put in and then people are claiming that like they only studied the night before or like they didn't study at all so that if they do get a bad mark then there's like something to like kind of fall back on. They have like an
Yeah.
excuse.
At the same time, I think the flip side of that is people who are like, oh my gosh, I didn't get any sleep last night because I was just working so hard, you know? Or they're like, oh guys, I'm so tired. And then you're like, why didn't you sleep? Oh, I was studying,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I think people like either do one or the other. Or like people say that they spent or like stayed up all night like playing games or something or doing something else.
Like, I think
Wow.
an important aspect of it is like the effortlessness of your success, and that's like
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
people want.
definitely.
What people want to
Yeah.
give off is that like I didn't try at all. I just like got up and like
Yeah.
here I am with a 99, which I don't.
Because no one wants to be a tryhard.
But we
Yeah.
all are.
Yeah, we're all
really
tryhards.
are.
But I still remember like my English teacher would always say like people just use the word try hard as like some sort of like I don't know, it's not called like derogatory, but it's just like some sort of term they try to make fun of you for actually putting in effort. So like
Yeah.
yeah, like if you put like it's just that culture surrounding like if you put in effort then you're called a tryhard. But if you're not like you're some sort of cool person or whatever, which makes no sense at all, but like it's just really sad.
People take pride in comments like, "Oh, I didn't study at all," or "I got a good night's sleep," and whatever, like before a test.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that part of the effortlessness might be because like a lot of people think that intelligence is something you just naturally have. So if you are saying that you studied all night and basically telling people that you put a lot of work and effort into it and you still didn't get like a high enough grade to justify that, then you're sort of outing yourself as someone who is not like naturally intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you look at the kids who in our grade, who everyone agrees is like the smartest kid or whatever, I think the general consensus is like, wow, they're so smart. They just know all of this stuff coming in,
Yeah.
right? They don't
Yeah.
have to do any work in class. I feel like that's the kind of people we lift up as being super cool and super smart. Or not cool. I don't think we
No, I don't
Cool
think.
to us.
Sorry. But smart.
Yeah. But doesn't
Yeah.
that like sometimes come from like you know when people do Kumon and stuff, like they're technically still try-harding in the extra like school stuff, and that's how they like get all these extra knowledge.
Yeah, but like
Mhm.
it's always
Kumon, the cool kids
it's
extracurricular.
always like whenever you think of someone as smart, it's always measured in like math or like physics or chemistry. It's like never in like, oh, like if someone has high marks in art, like you wouldn't call them smart. Like, well, they could be smart, but like
Yeah, that's
you
true.
would never
You'd call them creative.
yeah, you
Creative
would
or
never
talented or
measure them
something.
by their
Yeah.
other subjects. It's always the three like the most important in quotation marks. But there's also like oh my god, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, there's always like they could be doing really well in those important like courses or I guess, but they could be like they could be like failing another course, which like technically might not mean anything to them, but like they're not like fully like
It counts for less
yeah.
in the way people perceive
No,
them,
but when
right?
you say failing,
I don't know.
which leads into the other thing. When people say failing,
yeah.
like here, they don't actually mean I am failing, like I'm getting a below 50 in a course. That does not happen. When
Yeah.
people say they're failing, they're like for some people it's like 70, and then for others it's like somewhere in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, what is your threshold for an acceptable mark that you're okay with disclosing
It
to people
depends.
without shame?
First, I naturally don't like disclosing marks at all to people. It just does not work. And also, if you're doing the disclosing before the others get like a chance to judge you before they choose to either tell you their grade or they choose to lie to you about their grade. In which case, you're always in the disadvantaged place.
But like you could lie to them too. I don't know. I think it also like depends on like what course. Like for whatever
Yeah.
threshold mark is okay.
Yeah.
Have you lied to someone? Like when they ask you about your mark, have you lied to them?
I just say that I don't want to
You
tell
don't have
them.
to.
I just say it's okay.
You don't have to explain like what exactly you lied about.
I can't remember like an exact incident where I've lied to someone about a mug, but like I'm sure there's been times where I was embarrassed about something and I just didn't tell somebody.
Yeah.
I think I have. I think I've probably lied about math tests.
Like lie to make it higher
To
or
other
lower?
people. I'm
What?
making it higher.
Why would you lie to make it lower though?
But
Like, oh, I only got like I don't. Why would I make it lower?
Yeah.
I'm already. It's already too like I don't know, especially for like trig or what did I do really badly in? Grade 9 trig I did badly in, right? So then if people ask, I'm not gonna say what I got. I'm gonna boost it by at least a couple percent.
Wow,
I
really?
love that.
Oh, okay.
oh my god.
You don't know me.
The threshold of marks exists on like if like 70 something. Say Joyce got like a 70 something. Joyce by a few percents. Joyce means she'll boost it to like an 80 something. Because when you go past that tens, like it's a different level.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, I think if you're in the low 80s, that's when it's like super embarrassing. So that's when you boost it.
Ah.
Yeah, okay. The thing I have against 80s is because the range is so big, it's so easy to get an 80. So it's like you feel like shame or whatever because it's like, oh, you could have gotten like a 90 or something. Like you could have gotten a higher mark, but you got like I don't know how to say it, but like it's not the easy way out, but it's like not as like you think of it as not as great.
Wait, technically the range
Yeah,
for
I was
80s
gonna
is the same as
say.
the range
Is
for
it?
90s.
There are the same number of
There's
numbers.
80 to
What?
90
No,
to
no,
100.
no, no,
The
no. The
values.
range for like the marks, like like 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it goes from
Oh, like IB
80s,
marks.
80
Levels. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes from like 80
Yeah.
something to like 90 or whatever, or like it's
Oh,
like
you mean
really
a 6?
big.
Or a 5?
Yeah.
No, that's a 5.
I think a 5 is really.
Oh.
I think as soon as you can change the level.
For clarification, listeners, this is the IB 5, which is out, so it's out of
5
7,
out of 4.
not an Ontario.
What?
Not an Ontario 5.
Bruh.
We got
Yeah,
a 5 out
I'm
of
just
4.
so good.
7
The
out of
only
4, let's
number
I'm
that
just
is
so
okay is
good that the
110.
teacher gave me a new level
Exactly.
for my
Not even
This
a
is some
4 plus
elementary
plus a
school
5.
stuff.
Wait, you got 5s
Yeah,
in
like A++.
elementary schools? That's not a thing.
No,
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 but
We
no,
got
like-
A++,
No, but we have
like 2
we have
pluses.
pluses here. Like I got 1 in grade 9, which
Good
Humble
job.
brag.
Yay!
Or like Mr. Math. I mean, whoops, I'm not supposed to name teachers, right? My bad.
We can
Oh
Just say my
God.
math teacher.
Just
my math
bleep it.
teachers.
Yeah,
No, just say
ignore.
my math
Okay.
teachers.
But I
What?
already What?
So Christina's math teacher gave her good
Oh,
marks.
Mhm.
okay, yeah. My math teacher last year gave like cookies and high marks. I mean, like 4 plus pluses if you did good.
Oh my god.
wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
did you
yeah,
get
but I never
Yay.
got a
Or the
cookie.
cake at the end of the
Wow.
Or,
exam.
like the cake that
Wait,
nobody
what?
got.
You guys
The
got
cake
cake?
that nobody got.
No, we would
You
we
what?
got we would get a
No.
cake if we got 100% on the exam.
Wow.
But you never see
But
him
no one
again.
gets 100 on the exam.
No,
But
but
wait,
he
but
would-
you don't
he would-
get to see him.
Wait,
What?
he's
He
still here?
said he would find a way.
He's still here. Yeah.
Oh,
But
I was like,
He was like,
okay,
"I
but
will
like,
mail
what?
it to you."
So you get the cake in the school year next year, like this year?
No. He said he would find you after like your one of your exams or something. I think.
Oh wow, good luck bringing
Wow.
that home.
Hmm.
Did anyone get an 100? I feel like someone would.
I think someone did somewhere.
I've never got a 100 on
I don't think
anything.
anyone
Yeah,
in his
100's
classes got
hard.
100.
With like not on a test. I think people got 100 on like his assignment.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
Wait, I know it's not like technically like the topic yet, but like do you in like you know when parents hear you got a mark, but it's like pretty high, but it means the mark means you have a chance of getting 100, but you didn't. Like the times where you get like a high 90s,
Like a 98.
yeah, and then your
Oh.
parents are like, well, why didn't you get 100?
Where did that 2%
I think-
go?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're
Sick pick.
happy but about it, and then your parents are just like, you know what? That's too much happiness.
Oh my.
Because being happy is bad.
Wow, Joyce.
I hate it when my parents talk about how in their like what they used to study in school, they were like, I got such good marks. Like your marks now like are worth nothing, and then it feels so sad,
Oh my
Yeah.
so
god.
devaluing.
My mom is always
Oh my
like, wow, I
God.
was #1 in my school. I was like, what?
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Especially because like a lot of our parents like came from like another country, and that's like
Mhm.
hard. You have to like do extra well in everything to like get here.
Yeah.
There's more competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think our parents promote a lot of the culture that we end up having at the school, right?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, they raised you to think this way, and I know they mean the best, but they've created this monster within our high school.
Yes. Literally.
Yeah.
And with like just like the parent group chats and how it's they're always comparing you, right? So like, oh, your classmate did this math competition and they got first. Or if you come home with a good mark, they ask you what your friends got, so they know what
Yeah.
the average
What the
is.
threshold is, yeah.
Okay, I love it when they ask you, like when you lie to them that everyone else did bad too. So you're
Oh
like,
my
oh
God,
yeah,
yeah.
everyone did
Whoa.
badly too. It's not only me. That's what I did.
Or you
Like,
just be
Coming
like,
when,
I
home
don't
after
know.
every physics test.
I mean, sometimes you just actually don't know.
No offense to Christina, but I threw her under the bus a couple times. To save myself,
Oh my
because I was like,
God.
oh my god, I did so badly on the physics thing, and they're like, oh, what did that girl that does swimming, like who does like lifeguarding with you get? And I was like,
That
yeah, she
girl.
got a really bad mark too. Like everyone got a really bad mark.
Rough times, rough times. I think a lot of us have went through this.
No,
here's
not
what you do, though.
necessarily. Joyce?
You say,
Oh.
oh, they wouldn't tell me.
Oh.
And but like
Oh.
that implies that they did badly.
That's big
No,
brain.
you wait. Going to like something else. Like usually for this, what I do is, you know, when you do badly on a test and you feel bad and you don't want to blame it on the teacher or like everyone just being dumb. Like I usually go home and mention the highest mark I heard. Like so.
Oh
do
my
you-
god.
Do you avoid people who get high
What?
marks?
Wait,
Do you avoid asking
No,
about like
I
the
hear
really
like
smart kids' marks?
no. I ask for their marks and then I go home and I tell the truth. I'm like, I got like this
Wow.
really low mark, but I know someone in my class that did like this.
Wow.
You're brave.
Wow,
very
I
brave.
know,
Mukbang,
it's
so
impressive.
confrontational.
No, that's the parent. That's the parent trauma. I think. Like when you do bad, you feel like you deserve to be yelled at.
I mean,
Oh.
but that's such a horrible thing to feel like you deserve, right?
That's
But-
peak toxic
Oh my
academic.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you present the case to them, and you're like, I am here.
Oh
my
Yell
God.
at me
This is what
for
you
not
wanted.
trying hard enough.
This is what you wanted.
That's I think that's
Bruh.
peak. That encapsulates this episode.
Yeah.
Like you get a bad mark and you ask your parents to yell at you.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god, that's
I
so
don't-
sad.
Like the first physics test, someone got everyone did bad, but there was like 2 people that got 7s, which are like 97. or
Really,
above
I came home
converted.
and I told my mom about the kid who got a 1.
The 2 different
Oh,
types of
yes.
people.
At least I'm not that guy.
I went home and I was like, someone got a 7.
I was like, you should have seen the other guy.
Oh my.
Bruh.
Honestly, this is just like peak toxicity. Like getting a bad mug or a bad mug by our standards, and then going home and asking your parents to yell at you because you're so ashamed.
But
Yeah.
on the flip side, what I did, where I just like shoved other people under the bus, is also toxicity.
Different types of toxicity.
Yeah, that's also bad. It's also just as bad.
Why are you shoving people under the bus?
She has some aggression.
Yeah, there's a lot of pent up aggression from the
Yeah.
fear.
And that connects onto like our next thing that we were going to say, which is like, where do you draw the line between like if you did bad on this test because of you, or the teacher made a bad test?
We already talked about this.
Yeah, didn't we?
Whoops. Cut that.
Another point. Go to the
So
next
good.
point.
The other thing I wanted to talk about though is like how everyone we talked about how like, oh, if you don't have a 90 you're failing a class, right?
Yeah.
I think the humble brag thing applies to extracurriculars too, where everyone is always like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy, I have all these things I need to do.
Mhm.
Or they're like, oh, I went to this competition and we didn't do that great, we only made semis, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, but they're complaining about it, but it's clear that they just want to brag.
They want you to know about it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of
Wait, I think like the
Extracurriculars,
extracurriculars are particularly annoying because it's supposed to be something that you're actually like interested in doing, right?
Passionate about,
And it's
right?
supposed to be
Yeah.
something you personally like. Just you're supposed to do it for yourself, not necessarily to get a good like, I don't know, to win an award or like to put it on like an application or something. Like I think that really sucks the fun out of it, and it just really like I literally ran a poll on my story like today asking like people if they'd ever done something just because it would look good on an application, and literally everybody
Yeah.
said yes.
Yeah.
including us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
including
think.
everyone here, like
Mhm.
literally everyone here.
You know what I really hate? Oh my, because of my parents instilling like this culture of just like competition and stuff. Like everything, like every time I try to do something that's like literally the least competitive thing, I make it so competitive. Like I did pottery. And
Oh my.
when I saw other people's like is it vases?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like
Vases?
mentally judge it.
Vase.
I'd be like, oh, it's so ugly. Not as good as mine. And then-
The technique, the skills.
A pottery competition.
No, but I think that's the
Another
Bob?
case study, like piano. Okay, please raise your hand.
Oh,
Like metaphorically, please raise your hand if you've done piano at some point in your life.
We all have.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah,
We've
we
all
all
done it.
have.
Absolutely
Bye-bye.
everyone. Oh, not you then, I guess. That the thing is, you go to competitions, and like even if you don't want to, your teachers would push you to do it.
Mhm.
But the thing is, every time you go to a competition, it's everyone that you know. Like, please talk about the cases where you've done a piano competition and realize like 4 of the people from your school are also doing the same competition at the same level.
No, that was me in elementary school with Math Kangaroo.
I did
Oh
that.
my
I did that.
God.
And then everyone like does better than you, and you're just sad.
Yeah.
Taking the time to look through the top like percentile and thinking, wow.
I know. It's like our starter kit is Math Kangaroo and Waterloo. Like as you get into middle school. Did everyone
Gauss.
do Waterloo?
What did we do? Was it Gauss?
Gauss? Yeah.
Gauss.
Yeah.
Gauss, I'm sorry.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Oh, everyone
my God.
did Gauss.
Or caribou.
When they were like you get points for not answering a question because they didn't want you to guess.
Everyone immediately cheering.
I think I still guessed some.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I guessed all of them.
You want to live life on the edge, so you
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
opportunity to get more.
It's a shot. It's a shot that's available for you to take.
Yeah.
And you
Oh my
never throw away your shot.
Huh?
Oh
I
my
want
god.
You're
it.
so
Okay, so back to piano. Oh my god. Okay, wait. I hate it. Not hate, but like the other thing that I don't like is when my parents make it like sound like the younger you are, and the more success you have, like the better. So like if you've achieved so much when you were younger, then apparently you're like smarter and better than everyone else.
Prodigy
E.g.,
culture.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
oh my god, like e.g. swimming. Oh my god, when
Well-
when I couldn't pass a level and this guy who's younger than me did. Oh my god, my parents were so angry.
In,
Yeah.
in piano too, like prodigy culture, if you make it to
Mm.
whatever level, like when you're super young, that is peaking. If you're like
Yeah.
in high school and you're just in the normal level, like you're too ashamed to talk about it. Sometimes, like I was in grade 9 like last year or like the year before last year, and literally everyone I knew was like studying for grade 10. So I was like, when people
Yeah.
ask what your piano grade is, nothing. Yeah.
I don't play piano.
Yeah.
What is a piano?
Yeah, no, I just remember when I was training in gymnastics, there's like a kid who was like, I don't know, like maybe 10 years old, and then we were talking about piano, and I was like, oh, what grade are you in? And she was like 10, and I was like, okay, wow.
Oh,
my God.
offended.
One for each year of her life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, that's scary.
The videos of the child prodigies that are like in Mensa or something, or like the kids who are in university and they're like 10, and you're just like, oh my god, why isn't my life like this?
Like I didn't fail out of university at age 18. So
Yeah, and
That's
this
the
kid is 8
saddest
and they're
thing.
doing better than me. Like, what the hell?
actually, speaking of universities though, like we experienced this less before because we weren't applying to universities, but I feel like now that we're going into grade 12 and our parents are like paying attention to where people go to university, there's like this whole culture around university and like prestige
Yes.
being a
Mhm.
judgment of who you are as a person. Just as my mom, I
Yeah.
don't want to trash talk my mom, but like if someone stays in Ottawa and they go to Carleton or they go to U Ottawa, it's like, oh, their grades must have been really bad. They
Yeah.
must have been like dumber than the rest
Mhm.
of their classmates, you know? Which I don't think is
Yeah.
very fair to them.
Yeah, it's
Like if you're staying like in the city where you started and your city doesn't have like a really good university, people just think, oh my god, like what a failure.
Yeah, the only place
Yeah.
you're allowed to stay is Toronto,
Yeah.
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 right? Or like if you live in Waterloo, you can stay at Waterloo. But otherwise, and like I don't know, there's only like specific career paths. So it's like, oh, that kid was an engineering kid and they didn't go to Waterloo or U of T, a failure.
And like it's over.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What must the other school be
Mhm.
teaching you engineering? And like you must be playing with Legos.
Like you're never gonna find a job or happiness or
Yeah.
a girlfriend, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, like the view is really black and white. Like if you don't go to the best universities, you're just like you're dead. You're never gonna find a job ever.
If you don't go to Waterloo to study engineering, like you'll go live on the streets and then
Yeah.
your life
Yeah.
will go
Yeah.
even lower from there.
I mean, but like that's not the truth. Obviously, like that's not reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more putting those prestigious universities on a pedestal.
Yeah.
It's like
But
the
also,
name
like
brings you pride. When your parents just
Oh.
say the names, like my kid goes to blah blah blah, they're so
Yeah.
proud.
and that's the only time we'll ever make our
This isn't the first time that this happens.
Oh my God.
I mean, didn't they also do this when you got into our school, our high
They
school?
did. They
Yeah.
did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
oh my god.
Or like they judge, or you know how middle school kids, they all go off to different high schools, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like my
Yes.
parents also judge people for what high school they ended up at.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
start young.
You do start like, and like even in the like way younger times, like my mom, when I went to like when she was picking elementary schools, she picked aces because their EQAO was highest.
Oh wow.
That's so sad.
Wait, that's so funny.
Yeah.
What?
Wait.
Did you know aces is top 5% or something? Like I feel like I want to search this up. They pick schools from like when I was in China, my mom picked the kindergarten I went to specifically because they had like a better reputation in education.
I think that's what happened for me too here in Canada.
They start
my God.
planning your life from the start. So you know that expression to not lose at like the starting line? Like that's what they try to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of competition from the start. And I think with the judging where people went to school thing, even in middle school, depending on what middle school you went to, your parents can tell like what kind of neighborhood they grew up in, or like if they're in special programs, like gifted or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And by that,
Oh my
you
God.
can judge if the kid is worth talking to.
Wait,
Like for your
Oh
parents.
my God.
What? Wait, worth talking to? Okay.
Right? Like if you meet another parent and you're like, okay, is your kid smart? Where does your kid go to school? And if they name like a gifted school, they're like, ah, okay, your kid is also smart. Same.
They may interact.
It's so elitist.
It is.
But that's what it's like, right? You judge people from the start, and it's all based on school.
And even like
Yeah.
us, like our school has that thing. Like compared to like even Lisker or something,
Math,
like,
HL,
there
and
is
SL
a
and
superiority complex. Okay,
Oh my God.
okay. We're not shading people. Yeah.
I think with like math, the math levels, HL and SL and studies, everyone likes to trash talk studies.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of judgment.
Yeah.
It's like, how come you ended up in studies? You know, like were you just that bad at math? And of course, at our school, if you're bad at math, that means you're dumb. So
Yeah. Should we cover like an explanation of studies, SL and HL?
Oh,
But
yes.
yeah. Oh, okay, but also they overlook the fact that sometimes people go into studies because it's like not needed. Like they don't need like
Yeah.
They don't need STEM courses.
yeah, like
Mhm.
it's not it doesn't like define how good they are at math. It just like they just chose to do it too. Like it's not always the case.
I think that goes back to what we were talking about, where like the holy courses are math and physics and chem, and like everything
And
else doesn't matter
bio.
as much
Or
because
I
I
guess
think
not
and
STEM is like the
English.
not as much.
Okay,
though.
we're
I
just
feel
being on at this point.
because STEM is what matters, and like people at our school tend to go into like if they're not pre-med, then they want to be an engineer
Yeah.
or like
Those
a
are
programmer,
yeah.
you know. So we value a certain set of courses a lot, or skills a lot higher than other things.
Oh, also physics over the bias of physics
Oh,
over
yeah, yeah, yeah.
biology.
Yeah.
As physics kids,
Oh my
bio is worse.
There are two factions. There are two different factions.
Yeah. Like you think if someone's taking bio and not physics, they're not as good as math. They're not as good at math.
Yeah,
It would be like very like by like even the teacher's reaction in a chemistry class. The teacher asks who's in the physics class. Like there's a certain reaction you get from like the lower amount of people or higher amount. Because like in past years, apparently there was less. For example.
For physics?
Yeah.
Oh, our year was just very.
Apparently, our year had
reckless.
many people.
Oh my God. Do you have that judgment of just like when they're like, okay, so who's in physics or something? Like if you're in physics, then you would know this because you've seen it before, and then you see like,
Oh,
all
yeah.
the physics kids raise their hand, and then you look around and you're just like, are you not in physics? And you just like judge them, and you're just
Yeah.
like, okay, well then what other sciences are you taking then?
Sports
Some
science.
people only take one science.
That was the case for like
Yeah.
when we did gas laws, because we covered gas laws first in chem,
Mhm.
and then when we
Yeah.
did it again in
Yeah.
physics, they were like, "Who did this before?" And
Oh my God.
specifically, I remember saying, "Okay, bio kids,
No.
listen
You
up.
can't name
This is for
people.
you."
You can't name people.
Bro.
No, but I remember just like physics saying,
You can't name Miss
Our physics
Mufang.
class was
Physics saying that. Miss
Like,
Physics.
Mufang, that doesn't solve anything. You just named her and then kept going on. Excuse me?
"No, I
Every time
did
this
not
happens, just clap
name
over
her.
it.
I did not name her.
In our class.
So here we see denial culture. Want to talk about that?
I did actually."
Oh my
Our
god.
class.
Cut that. I didn't even realize it did not cross my mind. I thought I just said in physics class.
in
Oh my
our
God.
physics class. Guys, Emily and I are in the same physics class, or we were last year in grade 11. And I remember when we did gas laws, there was one girl in the class who
Oh,
didn't take chem
yeah.
out of like
Oh.
the
Yeah.
entire class of
Or
30.
Mufang, same
So-
thing for our
So
class.
she
Yeah.
was very singled out.
Mhm.
Every time we
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about gas laws, she would go really quickly because everyone knew it, and then she'd stop and she'd be like, "Oh wait, girl who doesn't take chem, like, are you
Mhm.
okay? Are you keeping up?" So
Exactly in
it's-
our class too,
and
yeah.
I feel like there's a little bit of judgment there
There is.
because
Yeah.
everyone takes chem.
No, but you
Or
also
most
feel like
everyone.
really singled out. Like you feel outed.
Yeah.
You were hiding.
There's once again another standard there. Like you don't have to take those courses.
You
Yeah.
really don't. But like at our school, there's like a preferred set of courses, like the
Mhm.
golden courses.
In our school, like people take like what they need, but then, for example, if you're more of an academic level, you'd probably take all three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who take all three sciences, I think, get like a little bit of a reputation boost
Yes.
because it
Mhm.
means they're like super hardcore and they're super smart.
Yeah.
There are certain courses that give you a reputation boost.
I love how at our school we have like that hidden rule that everyone needs to take chem. Like no matter what, you need to at
Yeah.
least take chem. And then like
Yeah, because you have to
it's-
take one science, and somehow we all decided that science was
it's
chemistry.
chem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone thinks it's super easy in grade 11, and then grade 12 hits, and everyone's like, "Oh my god,"
Yep.
cries.
I've heard horrifying things about like grade 12 chem. But
Yeah.
grade 11
I've seen the
is
horrifying thing.
oh god.
Wait,
HL
it's
chem
like
time.
it's really strict timing. It's like our physics test, but
Yeah.
like now with chem.
Well, I guess adding on to the like judgment of like choosing harder courses, people who take a fourth HL,
That's crazy.
that's foolish.
Wait, what?
Amazing. That's foolish.
Mufang.
That's foolish. It's a lot of work, but like then people get to flex that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh
So
my god.
it's-
When people flex at course or like not course orientation, but like the course selection presentations, and they're like they raise their hand and they're like,
What if I want to take all the sciences?
and then our
want-
guidance counselors are like, yeah, but that's a lot of work, and they're like, okay, but they still do it
I'm not
anyways.
scared of hard work. Wait, I just
Mhm.
remembered, like, all the comparison, right? And we were talking about chem. This reminded me of my chem teacher. So like, there's this kind of an incentive to be selfish or mean with the other students that you have because you view them as competition because you're trying
Yeah.
to get the best marks. I think this will happen more in grade 12 because we're competing for university spots. Does someone want to
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
the chem story?
I think Mufang knows it best.
Oh my god.
Directly
You're
part of it.
literally like if someone makes a chart of the times, like I get thrown under the bus. Like, we're up there. Fine. So our chem teacher has that whole culture of like you have to like compete with other people. So
Mhm.
occasionally she would tell stories of what am I saying? Cut that.
Fun don't swear!
Bad words. Bad words.
Okay, wait. Do
Cut
you want
that.
me to explain it instead?
Yes.
Do you want me to explain it instead? Okay, so basically what happened was that she has this really strong culture of like is it called integrity? Like loyalty towards like keeping
Yeah, I guess.
information
Like a cult?
with well, I guess. But like she's just like what happens is like sometimes she would delay a test because we could have a physics test or something around the same time and we didn't want to study like for two different tests. And then because we persuaded her so well, she decided to move the test. And then because we are nice people, we go well, I didn't do it, but like people
I did it. It was me.
people from our class would go and tell the other classes that the test was moved because we don't want them to because it's like really unfair to have people like stress over two different tests, right? And then like end up like they could end up doing really poorly on the physics test because and they're basically studying for a test that never existed or like was postponed, right? So that's like really mean. But then she tells us not to tell anyone. And then people did it, and then she found out, and then she got super angry because she was like, "Oh yeah, you're like someone's getting into university over you, and then like you're helping someone else get into the uni you want over like you."
But it's not really like it. That's not technically how it works, because you help people and like others help you. It's not like people just
Yeah.
cheat. It's just people just like share the information so everyone has like an easier time, since everyone is like super stressed all the time.
Yeah, it's because I think in that situation, it was they thought the test would be the next class or something. So they had like 1 or 2
Yeah.
days before the test. So we wanted to tell them so they didn't study for it when it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And then
Like
she found out.
it
But I mean, yeah, like it's a really like give and take relationship. Like everyone kind of just shares what they know with everybody else.
In a non-cheating way, academic integrity in this group of children.
yes. But but like I feel like she's like disregarding the fact that like it may not be as important, but like universities don't look for the people who are the smartest, because they look like they also look for people who have like a good personality, right? Like they want people who have like who are like nice people, like genuinely nice people, like not people who are just like hungry
Jerks.
or like greedy for success.
The culture here sort of promotes a little bit of the greed for success, I think.
Yeah.
The Slytherin inside all of us. I think, off topic, I think our school has a lot of Slytherins. Fact.
It's like a mixture between Slytherin and Ravenclaws, like, or at least that's what people like to think, which goes to
Yeah,
the
that's
bias
what I
of
think.
no one wants to be a Hufflepuff.
I just realized that the people we thought of as like the nicest, who are actually genuinely nice, but they're all like the nice people also really like like downplaying their grades, and it kind of makes me sad because
They
they're
do
like,
that because they're nice, though. They do that because they're nice and they don't want to hurt other people.
yeah, but can't you still be nice but like still be proud of yourself? Like I don't think
I
it
don't
doesn't
know.
really come off as cocky at all. Like I don't think it's cocky.
I don't know. It might come off as cocky if it were someone else.
Yeah, if you have like a really bad personality and you show off your marks, it's kind of like good for you for being proud, but like sometimes it comes off in the wrong way, and then people like really don't like it.
But the thing is,
Mhm.
depending on like the like how other people are feeling at any given moment, they might take like a norm, like an okay thing as something that's not okay. So like if someone just failed a test and then you're just like happy about how you did and you tell them about that, like they might just take it the wrong way because they are having a hard time.
Yeah,
They're
it's
sad.
like they think you're being insensitive, but like yeah, basically.
Also, another thing I've noticed about our
Oh.
school is that sort of like for your future, there's only you get to choose from like 4 career paths, like 3 or 4 career paths. And I actually noticed this because I was talking to one of my neighbors, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like one of my friends wants to do graphic design, and one of my other friends wants to do like theater." And I was like, "Those are acceptable to you guys?" and like your school, at our school, there's not a lot of like pursuit of non-science passion.
Yeah, no, I kind of felt about like my mom when like you guys talked about that. It was just like because I'm still kind of confused about what I want to do in the future, right? But then my mom was like, "Okay, I'm fine with whatever you want to do," and inside I'm like, "Are you sure about that though?"
I'm fine with whatever you choose from my list of 5.
Oh,
Oh my
you
god.
know, like once in our music class, the teacher asked, like, "Oh, is anyone looking to like go into music?" And out of the entire class, like one person raised their hand, and I don't even know if that person was like genuinely like thinking about going into music. And that's just like the ratio of like how many people think music is acceptable to study in our school.
I think that's just because music is kind of like it's not really, it doesn't really provide like a stable career necessarily. So
Like, yeah, I think there's always like a myth that like artists or like people who go into art are always going to be starving and like on the streets
That's
doing
the
nothing.
bias of like if you
Yeah.
go into the arts any arts, like the chance of success is very small. It's there, but it's very like small, and it's the bias is probably not you. It's probably some
Yeah.
prodigy out there who's like 5 and playing Mozart.
And like, yeah, it's just any career in the arts is really frowned upon by Asian parents.
Not just Asian though, like the Asian middle to upper middle class culture here. It's like your future job, you have to make like around as much as your parents, or else like downward
more.
mobility, which is scary. So you have to make at least as much as your parents, which isn't that many careers open to you after that requirement. So
Mhm.
yeah, because then if your parents are talking to other parents and they're like, my kid is a graphic designer and they make 50K a year, that's like it's like shameful to them, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, if
But-
like, do you really need like that much money? Like, if you are happy with it and you can live off of 50K, like I think that's fine. I guess they could do
Yeah, I
that.
know. But people here want like 100K.
No, people want like as much as like most people want as much as they can get, which like 100K is like one milestone, but even if you make so much money, like you don't really worry about anything, you'll still look to make more.
Yeah. But also, the thing with art careers or like careers in arts is that like people think that when you do these careers, you're always like sitting there and waiting for like that one moment in your life where you suddenly like gain popularity or something, or like
Yeah, like
a
you
miracle
did, yeah.
happens and you're suddenly like so much richer or like famous than before. So like they think during that period,
That uncertainty
like
is problematic for people.
yeah, the uncertainty of like actually being like a hit is like really hard.
Wait, Chris, what about your dreams of like being an artist?
Oh my god, okay, to see
Yeah.
that,
What about that?
sometimes we're just like, wow, imagine if we could do other stuff. And it's just depression.
Yeah.
Which
Oh my god.
technically you could. You could.
But we're Asian like upper middle class, so we're not gonna do that,
Exactly.
sadly.
So you're going to instead be a
Yeah.
doctor, lawyer, engineer.
I mean, you can do it as a side hustle, apparently, according to.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the thing. People tell you like you can't do this like full time, but you could do it as a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing. Like, if you tell your parents like you want to like paint or something, like they're gonna be like, "Ooh, that's not a good idea." But if you're like, "I'm gonna paint in my free time," they're like, "Yeah, that's fine. Like, you can have it as a hobby."
Yeah, no, like
Or you can paint as your part-time job. Like you just make money on the side as well.
Money.
Wait. But
even
guys,
more
I
money.
wanted to know, like, if you to like the Asian upper middle class, if you pursue arts and do become successful, like, is that something that's looked highly upon or is it not?
Ask Tuset. You know Tuset violins, like the YouTubers.
I know Tuset.
yes.
Uh-huh.
Like they were like supposed to. I read somewhere one of them made it into medical school, but they didn't go.
Oh,
They didn't go.
I know they both played violin professionally in orchestras.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
they both
Yeah.
pursued, like a music career first, and they were like decently successful, and then they became more successful on YouTube.
I think I remember one of them. Which one was it? Eddie? His mom was kind of sad when he went into music professionally because his sister had already done the same thing.
Oh,
You
yikes.
know?
Oh.
okay.
Yeah, so
Tea.
I think in that sometimes within families, if you allow one kid to pursue their passion, you really hope the next one is like conventionally successful.
You really hope that like their passion is the thing you want their passion to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a doctor or like an engineer.
But how do you can you make someone passionate about like cutting people open?
I mean,
No, that's not the right thing. It's saving people. That's the key word.
No, it's not cutting people open. I love
Cutting people open.
cutting people.
It's okay. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't have any passion for cutting people open. You're safe.
Oh my god.
That's not the appeal. That's not the appeal at all. Do you guys like? Have you ever had
Oh,
had
okay.
that doctor face? Did everyone?
Oh, I had a doctor phase because of
Oh.
a K-drama.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Sorry?
Yeah.
I don't think we didn't talk about this point yet, but like talking about how like all your free time
Yeah.
it should be meant for studying and never relaxing.
I also feel like if you do something as a hobby or like an extracurricular or whatever, just like you're doing it for
I
fun,
know.
like everyone expects you to turn that into like something that you're doing like as a side hustle or something that you can potentially make money off of or something that you can like use somehow in another way. Like you can write it on an application or something.
Oh my god. Okay,
It's just like everything that you do in your life needs to be like utilized somehow, that you can't just do it for like the enjoyment.
And in quarantine, especially when we were all like hanging out at home, right? It's like, guys, you have to be productive. Why aren't you working on like this thing or this other thing, or why aren't you
Yeah.
practicing more for in preparation for when things go back to normal, right? Like I was lost without school or like a goal to work towards because I don't know what to do with my life otherwise.
Mm.
That's the key.
yeah.
Wow. Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
Bruh.
You're never enough. There's always something.
Yes, you do.
Sorry.
And
Did I
that's the
unearth some
experience
trauma
with
inside
like
of you?
siblings, right? I like some of us have
Oh my,
siblings.
can we? Yeah.
Do we want to go into the sadness?
Can we please?
Do we even
'Cause,
have time to get into the trauma of having siblings?
Yeah.
uh,
Oh
You
my
can
god.
talk about
Okay,
like
but
the
also I
academic
would be
part of it,
laying
for sure.
down and doing nothing and still feel like, I don't know, like anxious or like guilty for
Yes.
doing nothing with my life. Like I was like, is my life going
Mm.
to end up like this? Where I
Yeah,
can't go a single day without thinking of
same.
like how to save myself.
And stuff you do for fun becomes an extracurricular. Like CAS, which for IB is like you have to do a certain amount of activities in certain categories to graduate. So I remember Mufang and we really enjoyed personality quizzes, and then we started making personality
And that
quizzes,
made it
partially so
feel
that we
like
had
okay
another
to do
activity
it.
to write about,
Otherwise, like,
for
what are you
CAS.
doing with your life?
Which is like, yeah, having fun, disgusting.
Acceptable.
But if it's
Yeah.
for school, that makes it like easier to handle. Yeah.
Okay, so like the way what like your parents make it sound like
Yeah.
you at some point in the future when your life is a failure, you're gonna look back, remember every moment where you didn't do something productive and regret that
You
moment.
didn't study.
Like
Yeah.
at some point in the future, I'll be living on the streets and regretting the time I took to make this podcast.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Wait, that got a little too
Yeah,
real.
this is beautiful.
Never regret the beauty of this podcast.
I've probably like regretted every single thing I've done like in my free time. Like I would write and like feel bad about it, play Rubik's cubes, feel bad about it, play video games, feel bad about it, cook.
Wait, what about Formula One?
Oh yeah, I will definitely feel bad about it at some point. Basically always, but I still do it.
Implying she hasn't reached that yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Because it's a drug. It's her guilty pleasure. But yeah, like why are we guilty for having something you
Because
enjoy?
I mean,
That's not
Bruh.
for school or for work.
like that's the sad thing about it, right? Because like I mean, as like just a person, you're gonna always have these things that you're doing just for fun. It's not gonna be productive, and that's just how it is. And we shouldn't expect ourselves to be like machines or like robots or something, always like doing something that's productive or useful. But we feel that way.
Thanks, Justine. Thank you guys. I think we're going to thank you guys for coming in and talking about our experiences with toxic academic culture at our school and in our community. I think that was a pretty productive conversation, even though we just spent an hour talking about random stuff at school. We'll wrap it up here. See you guys next week for our next episode, Baby Drivers, where we tell stories that might get us our licenses lost. Thank you.
Yay!
Once we got
Oh.
going, that was actually pretty good.
Oh my god.